Hello, you guys, and welcome. Welcome back to the Bible Study Studio. My name is Sonia McCullough Lockridge, and I joy to come to you in this fashion. So today is Sunday, and on Friday, I think it was on Thursday and Friday, we were supposed to finish up the few verses of the book of Revelation, and we did not do that. But we're here to do that today, and the question on the table today our reading verses are verses 17 through 20. And in the community tab, you will find the keywords for last week. There are about 8 keywords over there for last week. I did incidentally leave 1 or 2 of them off, and I will be adding those to our keywords for this week. Now, the question on the table today is, who are the 7 stars and who are the 7 lampstands in chapter 1 of the book of Revelation? Who are the 7 stars and who are the 7 lampstands in chapter 1 of the book of Revelation? So let's just finish reading this chapter 1 of the book of Revelation. And like I said before, please know that there are the key words for this week, this past week of November 11th, are under the community tab. There's a link to them under the community tab. So, in order to check out those 8 words that we had for last week, 1 or 2 are missing. Namely, the keyword perseverance. Somehow I failed to add perseverance to our list. So, those keywords are under the community tab. There's a link to them, and they wrapped up on Saturday. Today we are wrapping up the final verses of 17 through 20, and we are adding a summary to this chapter. So let's just begin reading in verse 17. Now, the last time we talked about all the crazy likes, and there is one more like in verse 17, and then we hear directly from the Lord Jesus Christ. So let's read. When I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man, and he placed his right hand on me, saying, "Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last, and the living one. And I was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. And I have the keys of death and of Hades. Therefore, write the things which you have seen, and the things which are, and the things which will take place after these things. As for the mystery of the 7 stars, which you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches." Verse 20 once again. As for the mystery of the 7 stars, which you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. So once again, the question on the table today is, who are the 7 stars? And who are the 7 lampstands? So now let's go to our summary or our wrap up of chapter 1 of the book of Revelation. The wrap up of chapter 1 of the book of Revelation is the introduction of the revelation of the returning Jesus, who is different from the resurrected Jesus. chapter 1 is more or less about the revelation or the revealing of the person of the returning Jesus. Not the resurrected Jesus, which we have a few full view of in earlier chapters of the book of the New Testament. But this is an introduction to the returning Jesus. Once again, not the resurrected Jesus, because this Jesus says, "Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last, and the living one. And I was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and Hades." It's a little bit different from the resurrected Jesus who walked around the earth for 40 days. This returning Jesus is different, albeit him the same. Okay, he's the same, but he is not. He's no longer the resurrected Jesus, because this particular Jesus has been seated at the right hand of the Father. Now, the other interesting thing about this passage is that this is the second time in these 20 verses that John is instructed to write these things. But overall, this first chapter of the book of Revelation is an introduction to the returning Jesus, the person of the returning Jesus. That is why John spent so much time describing the one like a son, the Son of Man. Okay, so this is a introduction to the person of the returning Jesus, is what chapter 1 of the book of Revelation is all about. Okay, tomorrow, and I do mean tomorrow, we will begin with some foundational work in regards to chapter 2 of the book of Revelation. Now, there are 29 verses in chapter 2 of the book of Revelation, so that's quite a bit. So we're going to go slow through this portion of the text and just go very, very slow, trying to understand what all is going on with these 7 churches. So that is where we will begin tomorrow. We will be taking a few verses at a time. For example, if for 7 days we were to take 2 verses at a time, that would only be 14 verses. But if for 7 days we took 3 verses at a time, that would be 21. So let's decide right now to look at 4 verses at a time each day, and that will give us a total of 28 verses, and one day would have to contain 5 verses that we would look at. But going back to what I said before, the first chapter of the book of Revelation is more or less a introduction, a meet and greet, if you will, of the returning Jesus, not the resurrected Jesus, not the Jesus that was lifted to heaven, but the returning Jesus that's coming back. This is a brief introduction, a brief meet and greet of the returning Jesus. That is all I have for us today. I will see you tomorrow, in which we will begin our look at the verses in the book of the second chapter of the book of Revelation. And like I said before, We're going to try to hold our daily readings and our daily, should I say deep dives? We're going to hold our daily readings to 4 verses times, and we don't really actually do a video 7 days a week, but 4 verses 7 times, 4 verses a day times 7 days, and that is 28 verses, and that gives us 1 verse for a day by itself. Not by itself, but with another day in there in which that particular day would have 5 verses. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. This is all I have for us today. Albeit small, it is great because we need to understand that there's a difference between the resurrected Jesus and the returning Jesus. This is Sonia signing out. I hope and pray you have a blessed day in the Lord.